So my background is not on the printing. After my PhD, I started to work in several paper companies and packaging companies. So I've recently been into more digital and digital printing for Lubrizol, but really my background into that. Okay, so I think everybody now I've used or use daily this kind of cups. I don't remember now the old plastic cups that you can find, the white one. It's just nowadays just these kind of paper cups that are everywhere in all your offices, in everywhere. And they're supposed to be green, and they've been sold to be green, to be sustainable, but is it really? Today, this market is around 250, 300 billions of cups made annually. So it's quite a large amount of things, but really, is it recyclable? And to answer this question first, you need to understand how these cups are built and what kind of materials are used. So of course, paper, as you know, paper cannot receive any liquids, cannot stand any liquid in, because it's porous, hydrophilic, so you need to have a coating, or you need to have something that maintains the liquid in, and especially here, thinking about this cup, it's mostly used for coffee or tea, so hot liquids in that case. So at the moment, most of these cups on the market are using a 5% polyethylene liner inside. So inside that is not paper, this is plastic polyethylene. 5%. So much better than what we used to see with the fully plastic cups, but it's still 5% of polyethylene. So are they recyclable? Today in Europe, only 4 to 6% of these cups are recycled. Not because it cannot be recycled, just because it costs a lot of money, or time, and we don't have the equipment to make it. So separations between the fibers and the plastic is really a mess. So today, I say, a bit more in the UK. I think UK is much more advanced in Europe. So I think UK is like 8% perhaps, but still really low. So the question is not, is it recyclable, but is it recycled? And to make it recycled, you need to understand the full chain of recyclability here. So it means that, again, this question of time, money, and equipment. If you don't have the equipment, don't have the money to do that, you will go directly to incineration. So there are several solutions to avoid that. Of course, replacing this polyethylene liner, that is really the problem today. So started to see more and more also new solutions coming from renewable resources. One of these is the PLA, polylactic acid coatings. So we're replacing the liner by a natural, coming from renewable resources. It's come from starch, it's come from corn, sugarcane, for example. So all these things is supposed to be 5–10% of the cups on the market today are using these PLA liners. And to be sold to be more green, of course coming from renewable resources, not petroleum, but it's been supposed also to be compostable. So is it really compostable? And to understand that, I mean, the idea that we have compostability is that in your garden, throwing a trash, and you come back some months after and decompost it. Now, here we're speaking about compostability in industrial conditions. So it means there is plants that are doing this compostability, so need special condition of temperature, of humidity, and some bacteria also to use that. So it's not something that you're just doing in your back gardens. It just need to have equipment. Today, only 20 or 30 industrial composting facilities in Europe. It's little. And most of them are focusing into food and not into composting this kind of PLA thing. So if you look again about how many of these cups are composted today, lower than 10%. So again, is it the right solution? We need to improve not only the construction, not only the materials, but also all the infrastructure that you have around. And if you don't understand the full chain, always made, you cannot propose something that is really sustainable. So, we say there's other solutions. We speak a lot about reusability. Reuse, I mean, this is disposal to you. You buy it, you use it and throw it away. So it generates waste and you need to treat it as waste. But there's a lot of people say, no, now use just a simple glass, can be cup of, let's say glass or even plastic cup that you reuse. So recently there's been a study made by the European Paper Packaging Alliance that's comparing a bit, put in a situation saying, we in the fast food industry and trying to compare and to see the life cycles analysis about if we're using single-use paper cups or paper tableware, we say, as compared to reusable tableware. In that case, if you use multi-usable tableware system, you need to use a lot of water to clean it. Of course, you go into the fast food industry, you cannot have dirty or contaminated tableware to use into that. So it means that you need 4 times more fresh water than the water used to make into these paper cups or these paper tableware. And going more into that, if you, at the moment, the level of recyclability or recycling of these cups or tableware are so low, but if you increase that to 70%, so pick up this number, 70% here, you increase you decrease in that case the amount of water to 228 times. So 228 times less water than if you use multi-use or reusable tableware in that thing. So, yeah, you need to understand a bit all the things that are going around. It's not only just simple point about what is sustainable, what is not. You need really to understand all the cycle. This means that packaging sustainability cannot rely only on some isolated solutions, but you need to really have this holistic view about all the chains. Do we have the equipment? What are the resources? What are the materials? Can be recycled, compostable or not? In which conditions? What energy do you need to do that? How many water do you need to do that? So it's not simple. So sometimes better to have a solution that using the less, I would say, the more sustainable solution sometimes is the less, I don't know to say that, the less impactful at the moment in time, because you don't have all the equipment to do it. So another point here that's driving all that is the regulations. So there's several European regulations that are driving that. So the first ones, and really the framework about all that, is the European Green Deal. So voted in 2019, and is really shaping all these evolutions into more sustainability, or I would say pushing into more renewable, pushing into more recycling and all these things. So this is really the framework with a goal which is climate neutrality 2050. Declining from that, there's all the regulations that are coming in, and especially for the packaging industry. One of the, I would say, the last one, the one adopted also in 2019, was the Single-Use Plastic Directive. So here this directive restricts the use of single plastics in packaging, but in all the things. It means that, if you come back on an example about the paper cup with plastic liners will be affected by that. So restriction into the use of this, okay? And promoting about other alternatives of more recyclability, more reusability, more compostability. Another one. This one is still under revisions. There's a lot of discussion around this one today because it's not only giving the line, but giving clearly objectives for recyclability, for compostability and reusability. So there was a lot of discussion ongoing, especially the paper and the packaging, a fiber-based packaging industry was not really happy with their first versions because they were focusing a lot about reusability of the things and not considering all the advantage and all the line, because what's really important to understand here is that the paper industry is working on this recyclability for a long time, and all the equipment, all the chain is done already. So it means we should improve that, of course, because here the targets, 85% of the paper should be recyclable by 2013, 55% of the plastic. So it's quite heavy. It's come back on my 70% of before, 85% now. And 2030 is, the objective is quite short. Okay? So here, things that the paper industry have already most of the equipment to collect the paper waste, to recycle that, and to make another packaging into that. So this is the regulations. Just wanted to speak a bit more about what is an innovation in sustainable packaging, and especially here, we were speaking a lot about flexible packaging. So flexible packaging, in terms of recyclability, in terms of sustainability, is a nightmare. It's been constructed to be really performant, to avoid any leak of liquids or even oxygen onto that. So really performant. You can put things and keep it in your fridge or in your kitchen for a long time, and you will still have the quality of the food inside. So really great performance, but in terms of recyclability, it's really a nightmare. You see how many layers you need to do that. Okay? And you need to separate all these layers to be recyclable. At the moment, this kind of packaging go directly to the burner. Okay? They are not recycled. So what the industry is pushing now is to more, let's say, more sustainable type of packaging, fiber-based packaging. So it's not replacing, and I think what to make it really clear, will not replace all the packaging, all the flexible packaging. But in some case, we can compromise in some performance and opt for more recyclable type of packaging with fiber-based, paper-based materials in. So here you see, really more simple. You have a paper, you have a barrier layer, which is a key here, I think. And you have the inks and sometimes the ink receptive treatments, the primer that mentioned Simon before. Okay? So this is where a part of the packaging industry is going, trying to at least meet the same or equal performance than the other one. But there's a lot of challenges, of course. The first things, I mean, it should be, of course, free of nasty, free of plastics, also because you don't want to do this polyethylene lined paper cup anymore, because it will be regulated. You will not be able to use it anymore. So these first things. One of the key challenge here is to maintain the performance, say, in terms of barrier to water and hot water, grease, and on another extent, you will see there will be the challenge on oxygens and all these kind of things. So here, this is really here with the innovations is to have something that maintains the barrier, but at the same time that it's food contact compliance, and it's repulpable. And what means repulpable? It means that it can go into the standard process of paper waste recovering. So collect it, treat it, clean it a bit, go into a pulper, which has been mixed and with hot water to separate the fibers and recover the fibers. Okay? And also standard paper making condition, which is key here. We don't want to modify the chain of waste. We want to use the equipment that are today in. Okay? So challenges, oxygen, biodegradability, of course, and de-inking. This is not, I mean, see a lot of issues, a lot of challenges, but it's also, I think, opportunity for us in inkjet printing, and especially for water-based inkjets. So you see all this move into more fiber-based, more paper-based type of packaging, to which is give from, in understanding, a lot of opportunity also for water-based ink. So the first one is, of course, water-based goes really well into paper type of packaging, but also it, the inkjet printing help also to fit with the new changes in the regulations, adapt on the last one, so it's much more flexible, I would say, in the design. Environmental compliance and safety, so someone mentioned it before in terms of VOC, all these things, but also food compliance. Food contact is key here for the paper, for the food packaging, of course, and water-based inks are safe, are safer than other type of technology. Personalizations and on-demand printing, this is something we see. A lot of people try now redesigning the packaging, rethink also about how they should promote that. So there's some regional specifications, there's some regulatory specifications that are really, let's say, are done really well with inkjet digital printing. Reduction of waste and energy, you use less energy, you use less ink, less printing, and less waste also when you're printing with digital. Okay, so again, this go with all the regulations and all the European directive that you've seen before. Recyclability and recyclability economy, water-based type of inks are much more recyclable than, I would say, UV or solvent-based. Okay. I'll go quick into that. So what are we proposing with Lubrizol? Start with trying to help to meet these targets in a different way. We are doing also on the inks, but also on the coatings. So you can see that we have several components, and they bring several components for water-based digital inks, but also the coatings, so the primers to be printed on, and also the barrier coatings. Okay, all that keeping in mind the circuit I told you and the repairability of all that, which is key here. Okay, and I think I'm done. Just have a look if you want into our last sustainability report. So it's a whole thing about Lubrizol. Lubrizol is involved in a lot of aspects into the sustainability, not only in terms of product, but also in terms of works and all the things going around that. Okay, thank you.